Hello and welcome back. This is CCP Fozzie, joined by CCP Dolan again, and this is now Last Huzzah versus Reputation Cartel in the New Eden Open 2. We're seeing a pretty awesome blaster setup from Rep Cartel and a very familiar setup from Last Huzzah. Rep Cartel here with Astarte, Brutix Navy issue, a Neros, triple Vexer, Carries, and Tristan, and then Last Huzzah with double Fleet Typhoon, Scimitar, Bellicose, triple Harpy, and Manticore, which definitely seems like deja vu.
Do you think all these teams have been practicing together?
I mean, it's very possible. It's also possible that copying a setup you just saw that day seems so weird.
Yeah.
I have to imagine that they've seen each other. They might have spied on each other, too.
I'm also interested that Reputation Cartel came in 1 point under and went with the Tristan when they could have put a stealth bomber in that last slot with the extra point.
Yeah, I mean, they may be relying on the Tristan to give, like, rep drones or ECM drones. But, yeah, who knows? We're going to see as the match now begins. Both teams warped in at long range and got Bouncer 2s dropped by the drone ships in Last Huzzah, dropped by that Typhoon fleet issue group, and the Rep Cartel guys are burning as hard as they can across the field, but it's going to be a challenge to catch up to the Typhoon fleet issues.
They're just so fast.
Yeah,
they're probably, I would say, one of the fastest battleships in the game.
They are excellent.
Not faster than Macarial, but...
No, but Typhoons are very fast battleships overall. Mimitar tend to be a very fast race, and the Typhoon does a great job of it. And they're able to project very far with cruise missiles and sentry drones as well, which is great. But they are one of them is tackled now. Tiberius Funk in his Fleet Typhoon now has a scram and a web on him, and he's going to be taking a lot of damage, although they've also got a web on the Scimitar.
Yeah, exactly. It just depends on which target they want to go for first. The Scimitar obviously going to be able to get away a little bit better than a Typhoon Fleet issue. You can see here as the tackle just drops on him, he's able to coast out of it.
That Typhoon Fleet issue taking a bunch of damage now. We'll just have to see when the reps actually land on him. The Scimitar is damped, so it might be out of range of the Foon. That might be part of the reason that they webbed him to keep him out of range. Yeah. We're seeing essentially testing tanks from the Last Huzzah team. They first were shooting at the Vexer, and now they've moved over to Carries. Both of them tanking just fine. Duck Slayer in his Oneros is actually doing a fine job of repping.
Even with all that E-War on him, they can't be testing tanks while they're losing a Typhoon Fleet issue.
Yeah, I mean, they're just trying to find a weak spot. They're now going after Duck Slayer's Oneros. Probably a little bit too late at this point. As that Typhoon going down, they really should have switched a bit earlier. They've got tackle on him, so they're probably going to be able to bring him down. But with continued tackle on the Scimitar for Last Huzzah, that's going to be a great second primary target for the Rep Cartel guys.
This Fleet Typhoon's hanging around for... Oh, the reps just dropped, so he'll be dropping them very soon.
Yeah, he'll be about... Oh, he's getting reps again.
He's getting reps, so he's holding just barely.
Him surviving this long is a huge, huge help. Although that Oneros of Duck Slayer has barely taken any damage either. It looks like they shot at him and then changed their mind. I don't know what's going on there.
They need to start killing things here. They caught a Tristan. They should be able to kill a Tristan, as he's continuously holding even with reps down now.
Man, Tiberius Funk is a hero in that Fleet Typhoon, somehow surviving after all the time. He's still webbed, so it's not like he's just freely burning around the arena.
Yeah, and he's not even getting reps. The Damster and the Scimitar too strong.
There he finally goes.
Drops.
But him surviving that long is going to allow them to, well, kill a Tristan, which isn't actually that big a deal. It would have been a very big deal if they'd used that time to kill the Oneros, but Duck Slayer's Oneros is not tackled anymore. This is a great performance by Duck Slayer in the Oneros for Rep Cartel.
And they're already on top of that Scimitar. You can see there he's already scrammed out, and tackle coming across on the other Fleet Typhoon, so he won't be going anywhere special anytime soon. It's just a case of better control, and they really shouldn't have spent so long testing tanks. You sometimes just have to pick a target, go for it, and just hope that you can burn through the DPS. If you can't, there's no use testing something else if you've already tested the weakest tank. One of the earliest targets they picked was the Carries.
Yeah.
They need to just go for the logistics.
Especially the Oneros, yeah. I mean, like, they just need to wear him down. At this point, that Scimitar just now, the Brutix and Astarte got on top of him, so he's going to drop really fast.
Yep. He has an ASB, though, so.
The one really big downside of a blaster team like the Rep Cartels is you need to burn across the arena every time you switch your targets. Yep. But once you get on top of them, as we now see them on top of the Scimitar, look at it dropping like a rock. Well, as it bounces back up a bit. But it is still dropping very quickly, and it's going to go down before too long. There's definitely no way it's going to survive through reload. Yep. And that will be the Logi down for Last Huzzah, which is really going to hurt, because that Typhoon is also still tackled. This is really great work as well by whoever's doing the webbing there on that Typhoon.
They're going to trade back for this Oneros here, hopefully, if they can finish him off. He's still he's still scrammed out. He's not webbed, though, which is a bit unfortunate, especially if he's afterburning, which looks like he is not. So you're going to have to... You're you're really at this point just in DPS racing, and when you have this many blaster ships, you can win the DPS race every time.
Yeah, if those blaster ships were still a ways away from that Typhoon, then they would actually have a chance of killing some more stuff and maybe getting that lead in damage. But what was done really well is that the Vexers for Rep Cartel spread out, got tackle on multiple targets to keep them from getting too far away. And that's why the Astarte and the Navy Brutix are already on top of that last fleet Foon. That was Nbuga there in the Vexer who very, very well went off, grabbed that Typhoon fleet issue while they were killing the Scimitar.
So these Typhoon fleet ships have not been really pulling out convincing wins. They have won once already.
They've won twice now.
They've won twice. Okay.
Haven't
I think they
know.
lost their one setup, but they won the very close match against the Navy Ravens. But what do you think they're really looking to catch out? What's the setup they really want to play against?
I mean, I think versatility is sort of the watchword for this team, is that you don't necessarily know what you're coming up against. Obviously, it's a setup that does really well against Marauders, because we saw it actually beat the No Boundaries Marauder near the beginning of today. That's a combination of the DPS and the newts that you can put on that those fleet Typhoons. That combo is really strong against Marauders. But then against a team that is like a blaster team like this, you can try to kite them, and which would have worked if the tackling hadn't been as good and the repping hadn't been as good on Rep Cartel. Yeah, repping. And that's the kind of thing that you would try to use your speed advantage for. So really the fact that you can actually flip both ways depending on what you're up against is one of the big strengths of this Fleet Typhoon team.
Yep, and you can see here now just support wings brawling back and forth, but it's already done for last Huzzah. The Rep Cartel, as you mentioned before, their rep is just too good.
Yeah,
they were able to rep all their ships so quickly. The tank testing was pretty much failure. Against a more inexperienced logistics pilot, you can test tanks and perhaps like catch someone not locked or something like that, especially against an armor rep like the Aneros, so you catch someone at the end of the cycle, you have the whole cycle to
or
try
if you
and
have
go
more
through.
damp dominance, you can also sometimes do that, switching targets against
exactly.
a Logi. But they just didn't have enough damps, I think, to really pull that off.
Well, this isn't a team with a ton of damps, really.
I mean, you have room for them on the Manticore and the Harpies, but there obviously is none on the Manticore because it's not damping anything right now. It's probably probably a source of another painter as it goes down really quickly. I mean, this is just a pretty well executed fight from Rep Cartel. Duxler did a great job in the Aneros. We saw great tackling from the Vexers, and then the core damage coming from former CSM Larconis Trassler, another well-known pirate in the Astarte, and the team captain Bob Chaftos in the Brutix Navy issue. They're on top of their last target, the Bellicose, and it's going to melt.
Yep, and that will be it. Strong performance from Reputation Cartel, another favorite from the last NEO, used to the format.
It means they're going to be up against Rampage tomorrow, though.
Oh, well, that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
I love these matches, and with that, that's going to be the match done, and we're going to see you back in the studio after a quick short break.